Hello, artist! I am happy to find you here today. We're gonna paint together this beautiful flower with alcohol ink and in the shade of green. So let's jump right in. I already have some green in my palette, which I will reactivate with isopropyl alcohol 99%. And for some reason I didn't film the first flower, so here's the process with the second flower. Now I'm applying 3 dots of my isopropyl alcohol, and I just decided here a little bit of gold. I apply it on top of my color, on top of my alcohol, just because otherwise it will sink right away and it's not gonna pop as nicely as if you do it after. I'm giving the shape of my flower and then I'm making sure it is completely dry. You saw the little dot of color, like a little triangle of color at first. I do that so it dries, and it really needs to be completely dry, otherwise it will stretch out, which is why I start this way. I want the tip to be dry and I want to extend it, push it with my pump after. Now I was playing on the little bud, just because I wanted it to dry a little bit. You can dry it with the pump, you can dry it with the air dry. I really like the hand pump, and sometimes I let it dry freely because I just like the shape it's taken, and I don't want to push it on a certain direction. So let's go with the second petal. I'm applying 3 drops of the isopropyl alcohol 99%, and here you can have 91%. It's gonna work, or your blending solution, it is gonna work too. Isopropyl alcohol is just my personal favorite, and once you start working with either 91% and then you switch to 99 or the blending solution, you'll see they act differently. You will just get used to one or the other, and it's just gonna become your favorite to work with the effect you're trying to create. So again, a little bit of alcohol, and here a little drop of gold on top of the alcohol so it can move with it. On that one I should have maybe put more colors, but I decided not to. Oh, there it is. I just put some more colors. It felt too light. With my brush, don't hesitate to give it the shape, but work in it before it dries, because otherwise you will see the line of your brush. If it's the effect you want to give it, it is fine. I personally like when it looks more organic and you don't see the brush stroke in it. So here it is. I made my roots and my line, like you can see right here, with my Copic marker. You do not need to use a Copic. There is tons of brand out there, but I like to use that just because it just gives me more precision for the branches. And as you can tell, my branches are not straight. I wanted to make it feel more organic again, with the natural waves of trees. The tree branch goes. So after I go with my Copic, I use my brush, and on it there is a little bit of the green, so I'm just going over it to make it move a little bit and give more depth and perspective. I'm not sure it's the right word, but it just gives some texture to my branches instead of being just very straightforward with that black. A brown Copic would be beautiful also, and I do use sometimes, I think I'm using my red that you can see on the right corner of the screen, my reddish pink. It just gives that nice little touch to the branch. So don't hesitate to play with colors and add more, because when you add to the alcohol ink, they will melt, and it just creates so beautiful effect. And the best thing with alcohol ink is if you mess up, you can definitely erase with your isopropyl alcohol. Now what I'm doing is creating my background. I should have done that before. I felt it was a little empty without anything. I was so white. So I decided to create just a little bit of subtle background with my flowers. So what I'm doing is just little dots of my green that I'm gonna let dry, and once it's dry, I'm gonna put a little bit of isopropyl alcohol and I'm gonna push it around, but I want it to be very, very, very light. So since there's not much, it's just a drop. It will dry very quickly, so you don't have to wait too long. Here it is. I'm just pushing it around, and it gives that nice little touch to the background. So now you just keep going like this with every little dot. One thing important is I try to not touch my branch, otherwise I'll have to rework my branches. But don't worry, if it happens, it's an easy fix. Make sure all your little circles are dry, very well dry, and it doesn't have to be the same color. Like I felt like that color that I was using, the same green, became kind of a little too dark, and I would like something blue or something a little brighter, or a complementary color, like in the pink shade maybe, or in the orange, but very, very light. So I'm gonna fast forward a little bit because that's the same process I'm gonna do until they are all done, and then you'll see the final result. So here, as you can see, I did touch my branch. So what I'm doing is just going over with a little bit of color and doing some touch up. And there it is. It is the final result. I do feel it's missing something on my side, but I mean, it's a good practice with just like exploring some petal. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't hesitate to ask some questions if you have any. Have a good day!